My name is Jeannie, and I'm the mother of a type 1 diabetic. First of all, I'm not a medical professional. I am not giving any medical advice. I just have it on my heart to share with newly diagnosed families some of the things that I've learned and maybe save you a little time. So one thing, this video will probably be pretty short, but one thing that I thought was pretty important was to discuss the actual emotional state. Just the different emotions that you go through when your child is diagnosed. Everybody deals with it differently, I know, but it can be quite challenging. So first of all, in the very beginning when my daughter was first diagnosed, I know a lot of people were trying to console me and say things to make me feel better. Quite often that ended up being hurtful or insulting, mostly because they either weren't educated and really didn't understand what type 1 diabetes was, but also I realized that I was being insulted because it didn't acknowledge the grief that I was feeling. And I think it's important for you to acknowledge that, not only for yourself, but if you have a spouse, to also acknowledge that with them. And although I know that my child is going to be okay, and so will your child, I thank God every day that, insulin was developed in the 1920s. Otherwise, we wouldn't be bringing our children home. And they really have come a long way over the last 85 years, I guess it is. But there still is no cure, so we are waiting for that. And there still is a lot of change that will happen when you bring your child home, not only with your family dynamics, but if you have other children, they will be affected by your child. Your child will also have emotions, emotional response to this diagnosis. And it's hard. It really is. And I'm not a psychologist, so I can't say, oh, well, you need to do this and this is the right thing to do. But I do know for myself, it wasn't until I acknowledged that I was grieving. And still at times do. There's still times where it just hits me. I was cleaning out my daughter's medicine cabinet the other day because I just couldn't get to anything anymore. And I laid it all out on the floor so I could go through it all. And it was so much, It was just so much. I thought, my 3-year-old daughter, wow, So, there is an emotional process that you need to go through. And although your family and friends may say things that is hurtful, they love you and they want to help. And because you are in this for the long haul, you need to accept the help. There are going to be nights where you may have to get up every hour on the hour and check their blood because they are sick. There may be, times where, you're just pure exhausted and you just need a break and you've been dealing, with the care of, diabetes on the brain like every second of the day, for months, and you just need to breathe and do something else besides talk about diabetes. It can easily consume every conversation in your household. And so I just, I feel like forewarning you about that, maybe you can kind of protect yourself from that a little bit. And I guess it's probably normal for it to happen like that in the very beginning because you're all learning. And if you're married, that would be one of my major things that I would suggest is that do all of your education together. If your significant other has a job, there is something, there's, well, here it's Unum, which is where your significant other can get so many days off a year due to an illness without getting fired. So he doesn't get paid for it, but at least he can be there, and he can be there for our daughter if, you know, if she needs it. So educating yourself, you know, getting educated together is important. Reading books together if you can. If you can't read it at the same time, at least, you know, read it to each other, and, or, you know, I mean, take turns reading it. But definitely, you know, I don't feel like it's the same thing with you relaying the information to them, because your perception of what you've read is going to be a little different than what maybe they might get out of it. So, you know, that to me is pretty important for you guys to be educated together, to be on the same page and the same, you know, same understanding of things. The other thing that I would suggest is, you know, connecting with JDRF. It's a wonderful group, and they do meetings and things like that for you to get together with other parents. They pay for the whole thing, and the kids get together and not feel so alone, and for you too. So, you know, when you go to one of these, there's something to be said for, you know, being able to actually physically be around other parents who are going through exactly what you're going through, and you can learn so much from each other. And if anything, you know, definitely get that emotional support, you know, because it's needed. So there's also a lot of Facebook groups. So I love Type 1. I also love the Type 1 Grit. But I know JDRF has a parents chat, but I found that Facebook is a lot easier to keep up with. So I've kind of like veered off of the other one. And I can't tell you how many times I have cried, laughed, gotten advice, you know, just emotional support from people all over the world who are dealing with the same thing that we are dealing with. So I feel like that's really important. And I guess that's pretty much all I wanted to say about that. I mean, just being aware of, you know, the emotions that you're going through, and allowing yourself, you know, it's a privilege, I guess, to be able to express your emotions, but it's pretty important for you, for your family, for your Type 1 child, to acknowledge that, to accept help, and, you know, to be educated together. Okay, I guess that's it. Bye.